civilians in the United States. It is different than what I was raised. And by seeing that, I'm seeing there is the very, very, very generally low income part of the United States that abuses these free assistance programs and abuses WIC and abuses all of food stamps and all different kinds of that. And those are healthcare. To me, free healthcare is finding a good yoga instructor. You know what I'm saying?
It could well be. Yes.
And to me, I think that everyone should have to. If we start giving away free healthcare, we're going to be taxed for it. Somebody's got to get paid these guys, right? So it's like if we start taxing them, if we start taxing the United States citizens, we're gonna in the long term wind up paying double what we would have if we just would have kept our insurance privatized. And then that money isn't going to be helping anybody else other than the oligarchy that we have right now. So that's just the way I see it. And I don't think. I mean,
you guys got
I agree with you to the point because any assistance program provided by the government, obviously it's being abused. Welfare, WIC, whatever it is,
it's just like
someone is going to abuse it. But my response to that is that abuse occurs because it's being allowed to occur. Someone is not following through. Someone is not holding people accountable. Someone is not properly overseeing those programs.
Those are government workers.
Exactly.
Kind of like
how much do you really expect out of those people? What do you expect out of people when you go to the DMV?
Well, I see what you're saying, and I kind of want to just give you a little rebuttal. That's what's going on. That you want to add to that.
Right.
Well, you want to make it more people doing that job, and you see what I'm saying?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. There's supposedly people in place to control these things.
Right.
How do we know they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? I mean,
I don't see it helping more people than it's hurting. Mm-hmm. And when I say hurting, I don't mean hurting as in you can't have coverage. I'm saying if we make healthcare universal and free, I feel like there are those that we are definitely helping. Don't let me.
Well, sure, but there's going to be a large percentage that.
And we're going to be hurting them in a different way, in a long-term way that the average American consumer can't see. The average American consumer is only looking 3 to 5 years down the road. Average. I mean, there are those few that plan 10, 20.
Your age.
Yeah, my age.
Yeah.
And they're not going to see that this is actually. They're going to. On average, right now, as of 2016, each citizen pays around $8,000 to $9,000 a year in healthcare. Mm-hmm. A family of 4 pays $20,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if we look at the deficit, which is almost, $3 trillion, and how much money was spent in healthcare last year is over $3 trillion. So we want to make that free,
But the money's got to come from somewhere, so it's either going to be coming from our government or our taxpayers. So it's got to come from somewhere,
Yeah, absolutely.
Print it. That's what they've been doing. Just print more,
It comes down to you can't just implement something with having everything else set into place to allow it to function properly.
Change the whole thing.
Exactly. I mean, it's just not one little thing you're going to fix. I mean, it affects every aspect of everyone's life. But then it means a complete overhaul.
Hey guys, so we are talking about if healthcare should be free.
Keep forgetting a lot.
So if you guys please tune in, comment, just tell us your opinions so that we can just take that and run with it. And Virgil, I know you tried to say something here a second ago. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I want to give everybody a chance to give their input. I pretty much agree on both sides. People do and can and will abuse it. However, we save money by making that investment instead of
long term.
The long term instead of denying care. Even you're going to have abusers, but the ones who really need it are the ones they're certainly not going to use it. I personally lost 2 friends in the last 12 months. One because of the lack of health care. One was because he didn't have insulin. $50 bottle of insulin.
That's terrible.
I can't remember his name. Bernie Sanders mentioned it during his campaign a year and a half ago. There was a good friend of mine. He just died. And another one died of pneumonia. He walked into a health care clinic and gave him $300 because he's a successful artist, but he did not have insurance. Those were productive people. They could have been prevented, and now they're dead. In the long run, we all save money by investing in some sort of health care program. And it is socialism. I'm not very socialistic, but
I mean, why not try out socialism in America? It's the only place that can't be invaded by it.
Well, Social Security and Medicare are two examples. They cost money. They usually give us a deficit, but they're usually cheaper in the long run than not having it.
I kind of want to comment, like what you were saying. It doesn't only affect that person. It's not just him dying because of the cost of all that treatment before they died. Because you can get free treatment at hospitals. You don't have to pay right away, is what I'm saying. So if they were to pass, that goes on to now the families. So now the families are going to have to go through hardship because their loved one didn't have insurance or didn't have access to healthcare.
They're left with a debt.
Yeah, they're going to have to handle the debt.
Are we going to be paying? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
You're good.
Are we going to be paying every doctor the same then? Are we going to be paying neurologists the same as cardiologists?
I want to say all that's changing.
Is it the same amount of work, effort, knowledge, and skill and schooling to work on someone's brain than it is to work on somebody's heart or to be on a truck?
It takes the same amount
Do we
of
pay
knowledge.
him the same amount? Because you're saying, and I'm not trying to be rude, but you're saying that we're going to save money by doing this, and I don't see it happening because if we're, and it is terrible what happened to that man not getting insulin, and that's highly very very unfortunate, but.
I think that's what they were saying when they say there's a...
What about the terminally ill?
Well, that should be there's a cutoff, right? Like something like insulin, something that's cheap, there's ways that...
reasonably be avoided for minimal cost.
Right, something like
where do we
a
draw the
basic
line,
plan.
then?
We have to create a basic
where does
plan.
that line draw?
I guess we're drawing. Let's draw the line.
Yeah, all right. I mean, it's
that was a
that's
very
big
good point.
line.
I wasn't arguing. I'm really
Cheers.
not. I'm not seeing it yet. I guess I'm just seeing the.
Well, I kind of worry, like what you said, if we do go to the everybody has healthcare, is that gonna not only shortage our doctors, but is that going to create longer lines for transplants? And like Canada, I mean, there's no preference. I mean, you could have $100,000 in the bank ready for that preference, that kidney, that liver, whatever it is, and you can go pay for it here. But in Canada, you're on a list.
No one gets preference.
And nobody gets preference. So now, I mean, people die that way.
That's the downside of socialized medicine.
But I mean, people are dying the other way too. So you see, kind of like we'd have to figure out. We'd have to figure out what's worse and what's better.
We're gonna bury their families in it, and I see that you guys are very, very right, and I hope I'm not taking a stance against the fact saying that there are certain regulations and limitations into which free healthcare could work. In our society today, my stance is that I don't see it happening, but yes, there is a possibility of it happening. But in every other place I've seen it happen, and every other place in the world it's happening, it's not the same.
Have you ever talked to a Canadian about their healthcare?
Yeah.
No,
They seem to be happy.
It's great.
To me.
Really?
Well, yeah, they got free. Never mind.
They love it, sure. But I'm sure they have their growing pains as well.
A chronic illness person.
Oh,
They
Have you
also
talked
have
to somebody?
chronic.
A chronic illness because
terminal illness.
yeah, terminal like the liver. I talked to somebody with a
Right.
liver. He moved to the United States because his waiting list was so long
Right.
that he could not get a liver in time. He would have
came
died.
here.
He came to the United States
Okay.
and got health insurance and paid for a liver.
It happens often
Really?
Very often.
because
You meet deductible. And
it's rationed.
But won't there be a surplus if we give free health care?
Well,
we'll
we
a
have some of the
shortage
best healthcare in the
doctors.
world here.
Mhm.
But do you think that
Agreed.
if we go and give it all to everybody, do you think that it's going to remain the best? Or do you think we're going to marginalize our
It's-
healthcare?
It might decrease.
I
It's
think
gonna
the
diminish.
quality is probably
Yeah,
going to diminish.
integrity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
and that's unavoidable. But that's just like.
But I mean,
It's
when
like
you talk
for
about
teachers.
deaths and people dying and like malpractice and all that kind of stuff is going to start coming into play. People are
Those
going to die
percentages
because
are
of
going to increase.
yeah. So
now these insurance
we're-
companies and this free health, is going to have to pay into these families. These lawsuits are going to come rolling in.
Mhm.
Nothing's going to be perfect, people.
Well,
if
no,
we
new laws
rationalize,
are going to have to be put in place. Yeah.
Yeah,
if we
that's
give
for sure.
socialized or start a social program for everyone, it's going to have to be rationalized. Not everyone's going to get. to
does
live.
Planned Parenthood do something like this? Planned
Staying out of the Planned Parenthood.
I've been
Don't
years
touch
since I had a
that one with
kid.
a 10-foot pole.
No, I'm just wondering because I had a girlfriend that she didn't have insurance, and we would go get her wellness checkups for free because she didn't have income.
I think they have a
okay,
sliding
okay.
scale.
Yeah, they do have a sliding scale, I believe.
Stuff you haven't turned it on.
Because when I started making more money, I had to pay more for a visit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, wait a minute, that birth control cost me $10 last month. I got a new job and it cost me $80 this month. What the heck?
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it too. You know, providing those services like
For
STDs,
wellness and wellness
STD
and- yeah.
checks and helping preventative maintenance. You know, and
Good.
flu shots and stuff. You know, those I guess we could consider healthcare as well. And most
Oh,
places,
absolutely.
yeah.
And those are offered at Planned Parenthood clinics.
Mhm.
All of those.
Yeah, and
everything
they
you
have
mentioned.
there are like Red Cross doing it for free
Right.
in neighborhoods
And I wouldn't do
private
anything about
companies
that. I would.
bringing it. That's what I would like to see.
Right.
I would like to see private companies,
Employers.
nonprofits, coming together to start healthcare, maybe even a hospital or something along those lines, where it would be like a sliding scale, and you know, you would we'd have the option. We're not all that, we're not all this, but now we have
Right.
the option of, hey, you have different things.
They actually do have a lot of those, basically a mobile clinic. It's kind of like a doctor's office on a bus, and they go
Right.
through San Francisco, LA, I mean, all
And
over the West
like
Coast.
you're saying, it's
I'm
very
not sure
limited
about
care, though.
Houston.
'Cause
Yeah.
they're not,
Oh, absolutely. There's only so
pulling
much
around
they can do.
MRI, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to find your stroke, you know.
Yeah. But they can get you caught up on your shots and make sure you're okay, your blood cholesterol is all good. You know, they do the
Wellness
basics
checks.
at least.
They
Exactly.
have that
check.
hip hop for HIV in Houston, you know, which is
Yeah.
a big thing.
AIDS walks all around, yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge.
Raising money for people who don't have it
Again.
to get healthy.
Those things are cheaper. You invest that money and you save millions, probably billions of dollars later down the road, you know, because of that. So
For the, if we're looking at the different, I guess if we're looking at the different types of
Give some
castes in
comments on
American
the screen I can
society,
read.
if we're looking at the different types of like
Democracy is-
levels of society, then yeah, overall it'd be a lot more fair and a lot more possibility to be successful. But
I saw that.
and
We're all
today,
awesome.
with the way that we almost glamorize, you know, like plastic surgery, and there's a whole
Right. Would that be considered free healthcare?
Uh,
Where do you?
Well, absolutely
Yeah.
not to me.
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
elective stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but
and not just that, but
free options
cosmetic
do it still.
dental surgery.
Well, what about- what
you know,
about
different
something
types of
like,
like a
lobster
kid gets his
on
arm
the
blown
week
off, you
before.
know, like or half of his face blown off, and now it's like, do we repair the kid's face or we just make it to where it can live?
Patch it up.
One of
yeah.
my issues on the whole healthcare issue is what does the individual responsibility to their own health?
Mhm.
I mean, are you going to smoke cigarettes and drink beer all night and then go to the doctor and complain?
And be
because you
allowed
feel
to
like
have
crap?
free healthcare.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, why am I?
Are
why
you
am I
gonna
dying?
Well, yes, they
ruin
already,
yourself?
They already do it.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But there has to be limitations of some sort, you know?
Sure.
But how do you set something? Well, you can't stop somebody from hurting themselves.
Well, no.
But
We can abuse cheeseburgers all day.
Right.
good
that's what I'm saying. Drugs too. I mean, the same thing.
Yeah.
Somebody could go do a bunch of cocaine and end up in a hospital, and now we're paying for it.
You can't
Right.
judge
Right.
people for their mental state when they come in asking for help. I
Mhm.
don't care what they've done.
Agreed.
I'm sorry. Whether
What about
it's HIV
what about
or
psych
diabetes.
visits and psychoanalysis?
Same thing. You
Well, I think that kind of protects all of us.
Well,
we want to get them off the
do
street.
you think I should get my ADD meds for free?
Attention deficit? I would say so. Yeah.
this is
I would something like that
Yeah.
because I would consider that basic health care.
Especially for what you do.
Well,
You know, like that's like
It's all about clarity, right?
yeah,
Well,
it's like
yeah.
giving a veteran.
well, it's more about me not being able
Yeah,
to
marijuana.
function.
Yeah, or for treating them for post traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
I think if we, like I said earlier, if we had like weekly free yoga classes at the Y or something,
with goats.
Yeah, but they wouldn't go.
it's totally free
yeah.
health.
That's what I'm talking about. Is your personal
But
responsibility.
then,
your
but then
own health.
again, you're
Yeah.
taking away from businesses like yoga clinics. They're paying. You know,
choices that got to be made, and there's going to be sacrifices no matter what your
I'm
decision
gonna read
is.
some of these comments real quick. Not to cut you
Oh,
guys
wow,
off.
wow,
but,
we got a lot of people tuning in.
yeah, we got Zach Louis. Thanks for tuning in. Matt is awesome. We have Matt on today.
Matt Cash, he tuned in.
I think that was from earlier today.
This is the wrong feed. Is this live?
No,
feed?
this is the live feed.
All right.
That's it.
Okay,
Hey,
so
you
just sip on
Amy's
that
sipping
wine.
that wine.
Hi, Amy.
She wants us to
wine.
sip on the wine.
There
I
you
think
go.
I need some more, actually.
All right,
What up, Calvin?
do you want
Hey,
a
Joe.
white?
Yeah, please.
Pass that to you.
May I
So
pour you some
Calvin
more
Weaver,
wine,
man,
my
thanks
friend?
for coming in
Yes,
from the Hopfield
Yes, please.
Steakhouse. Appreciate that. Joe Lee, JC Texas County Music Productions, watching. Awesome. Marsha, thank you for tuning in, Marsha Morel. So, do you think the physicians are controlled by the insurance companies? That's a good point. We're gonna hit that one in a second here. Let me get some more names out here.
I've got quite a
David
question
Craig,
for that.
thanks for tuning in. Fidel Gonzalez, I appreciate you. What's up, dude?
Virgil, you're amazing.
See here, Virgil
Thank
looking
you,
good.
Amy. I love you, Amy. Thank you.
Claudia Prince, thank you for tuning in, and David Craig, I appreciate you tuning in. But
Zach's
Sydney
watching too.
Johnson,
Thanks, Zach.
hello, Sydney.
What's up, Fidel?
Michael Garcia says it won't work because then the doctors would have to work harder to maintain their lifestyle
That's my
they're
brother.
used to, and they won't have that. Which I definitely agree. Which will
I hear
increase
you.
the shortage of doctors. I think so. Dana says hello, Virgil. Thanks for tuning
Hey,
in, Dana.
cousin Dana. She's my god sister.
Samantha McCooley, thank you for tuning in. She says, I think sometimes you guys should really take into account how much profit the hospitals and doctors are making. Healthcare is technically free market society.
Yeah, it's privatized healthcare.
Right. Well, that's what we have.
Well, but what we're saying is that the money's got to come from somewhere.
Mhm.
It's going to take a bite out of the doctor's pocket. We're going to start losing doctors as well.
Mhm.
But like I said, there's always going to be a
Because
sacrifice.
what if we have to also have like universal auto insurance? If that's the case.
That's already a given.
Someone
No,
might make a
universal
case
free,
for
but
it.
you got to pay
Right,
for it.
right.
Yeah. We're mandated to have health insurance
Yeah.
too.
Well, yeah. Well, the way they,
You get a fine
I
the
don't want
same
to.
way.
I don't want to get into this too long, but I have to say that that was all done wrong and it got.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
wasn't done
that's
right.
another subject for another day.
This is what I wanted to touch on about doctors and whether we're going to see a diminishing quality of care from doctors. Yeah, unfortunately, that's why I don't like the idea of socialized health care. Because what you end up doing is having two layers: the ones that can afford really good care, and the ones who will be going to get mediocre
Before
care,
you know it,
and they
you're
will
gonna have
suffer
Rico, man.
for it.
Yeah, like the movie where they're regrowing organs.
But doctors need to be brought down a few pegs anyway, and it's happening. I'm not bringing down any of my doctor friends
Right.
and physicians, but the old guard in school were taught they were gods, and they're paid a lot more money now. They're not getting paid as much because of the changes, and they're really the industry's drying up because they don't have enough doctors.
But now work's
Nobody
going to
wants-
increase for them, and their pay is going to decrease. And I think
Well,
a lot of
you
them are
know-
gonna scoot on to a different.
Go to another country, yeah.
Well, we can import them.
We
I'm not
already
being
do
funny.
that with nurses.
Yeah, as long as they're
Yeah.
from Scandinavian countries.
Oh no, we import nurses from all over the world. I mean, like Philippines is a huge import for our nurses. They
Well,
train over there, they come over here, they make money, they
And
send that money back.
It had been working very well until
And Sweden.
things changed.
Sweden, yeah,
Love
Sweden,
it.
African
Scandinavia.
countries as well. I mean, I walk out in through
Oh,
hospitals
yeah.
and I see a lot of different people from different countries that are either here on visas or they're here to work, and that's the only reason they're here because.
Used to be.
But if you go to that, are we gonna not have that because people aren't gonna want to
No,
go
just,
work?
they'll be from Scandinavian countries.
Oh, they'll be a little okay.
Northern.
Oh yeah, so they won't barely speak
that's
English.
what you
Like, how bad does it hurt? What? Gloria, thanks for tuning in. Samantha, appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to chime in anytime. And new viewers, thank you, Samantha. I appreciate that. John, looking good, buddy.
Hey,
Gloria says. Vivian, thanks for tuning in. You got a lot of people here, John. Bud. Thanks for bringing out the crowd.
And Virgil.
Yeah,
They
Virgil
seem to love
too.
Virgil.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen
They're
one
used-
hello
they're used
Chris
to me.
yet.
So I actually
You're
have
already
a point,
popular.
a question.
Go ahead.
This is about terminally ill patients in this whole debacle. Are medicine manufacturers going to be persuading pharmacists and doctors to push somebody that would stay on health insurance for a longer time that's terminally ill, or push them to make an assisted suicide, or like pushing them towards the out the door on different medicine, or we already have a corrupt government. We already have big business inside of
Everything
pharma.
is
Yes.
corruption.
So now we're gonna have the corruption take place if we decide to do free healthcare.
Universal, yeah.
If we decide to do
Absolutely.
that, we're gonna
Someone
have
will find a way
companies
to profit from it.
paying these doctors extra to make up for that, saying, "Hey, look, just go ahead and get rid of them, get them off of our insurance. Go
Mhm.
ahead, they're already too much to the government." Then you've got so much more power going to these rich people.
I'm all about
That happens
never
already.
putting
Oh,
more into
And
the
it will
government's
continue
hands.
to the end of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given. It's not fair, but it already happens, unfortunately.
That's the world we live in.
I mean, I've actually got a personal story for that. Bit of a sore note, I guess, but my cousin Elise is actually in the hospital right now with stage 4 spinal cancer. She designed the F-22 Raptor for Lockheed Martin, you know, and most amazing woman in the world, but we can't, like the family can't afford the medication she needs in order to get better, and it's hard on family.
I mean, she's not. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not because she had no money.
Right.
She just didn't have enough.
Right.
Which is
amazing artist, extremely talented and technical minded, but like, I mean, sometimes our health gets the best of us, and sometimes we can't be able to make those changes happen. And so, what do we do for those terminally ill people? You know.
That's a good point.
Thanks, Dana. Hey, Chris.
You know,
The only ones that get to survive are the ones that can afford it.
hi, Alan.
Thanks
for tuning in, guys.
That's kind of my thing behind it as well. Now,
Ellington.
with the chronic illnesses versus the acute. So the acute are going to be easily fixed. It's not long-term care. So it's a lot less money. So I think that we can find a medium ground between an acute health insurance for all and a chronic health insurance privatized.
Agreed. I think it's definitely going to be a solution.
I think
Someone's gotta
that's
sit down
a
at the
decent-
table.
Yeah, a lot of people I feel like doctors
absolutely.
and statistical data needs to be gone through.
They don't need to sit down and drink a bottle of wine together and say, all right, let's
That's
figure
right.
this out."
They need to-
Amy Moore says
That's how you know you're dealing with
there is more money in
Many
being
bottles
sick
of wine.
and not being well. Consider all the financial moving parts from the drugs to procedures. Lobbyists fight to keep money in the insurance companies' pockets. It's a money game. It's unfortunate, but the overall goal of privatized healthcare is to profit. Now,
That's a very true statement.
I love that statement.
The
I
more
would like
money
to-
and
I
prolonging
would like to
the-
say
the
that,
treatment, curing.
if there's more money in being sick, then why wouldn't be socialized healthcare? Because now
That costs people more money. It's like prison.
But in the socialized healthcare, would it be more advantageous to cure the
because
problem
they're paying
than to drag it more on?
right?
Again, prevention.
No, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. Because they're not insurance companies not trying to get profit.
Yeah. We've already got
They
a
are, but the
surplus of
government-
patients to deal with.
So we're going, hold on. Let me make sure I hear this right. Can you say that one more time? You said, yeah, you got to repeat that for me one more time. If you just said, I'm sorry.
A surplus of
About-
patients?
Well, what I'm saying, what the statement was that as far as the medical industry is concerned, it's certainly more profitable for them to continue treatments rather than actually curing the illness.
Which is why we have
Today.
pills
And
coming
that's-
out and
that's why
not
it goes on,
vaccines.
yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. And there's an arrangement, an agreement between pharmaceutical companies and doctors to prescribe certain medications that are going to continue
You got a
this
golf
treatment.
trip,
So,
Right.
maybe give out
I
Zoloft.
thought you were saying that by making universal health care legal, that we're going to be raising the moral standard for which the doctors are living now because they're making less money.
Oh no!
I just didn't see that. I was
I
like,
didn't
okay,
know.
hold on. I'm glad I asked you this. Because
My
I was
thing
like,
is,
wait a minute.
instead of giving it to the private, now we're giving it to the government. So, I mean, you're saying that there's more money and people get sick, and the government wants our money. So, I think that you're giving it into 50% of us are corrupt, but like 75% of them. You know what I'm saying?
The what, $1 billion industry for prescription drugs?
Right,
That's
and
crazy.
but that would topple that, and
Oh,
it would topple entire economy-based things. I mean, this would change a whole lot when it comes to the pharmacies having all the money and
Right.
these hospitals that are. I went into one hospital room. I mean, you can't go in there with regular insurance, right? I was at the very top floor, and I won't say the name of the place, but it was a penthouse. A hospital
I
penthouse.
know where it was.
Yeah.
It was.
No, it was
Top notch.
It seriously had a full-size
Concierge.
fridge. It had a full-size
Well,
fridge in
no,
the room.
that cooks
It
them
had two
probably
full-size couches.
Mhm.
It had a lazy boy. It had a hospital bed. It had an oversized
So how did you end up there?
Don't forget.
I'm paramedic. I was dropping off a cardiologist who was sick, so he had enough money to pay for a suite.
Yeah, and they have their own cook too.
That's hard.
Oh yeah, no, they got their own cooks.
Yeah.
They come in, and I mean,
They're sitting there like.
we will be
Get sick and take a vacation.
with
Yeah.
socialized healthcare. Do you think that we can keep a private part
No.
of it? I mean,
Kinda.
You gonna let Bunk Weekly from down the street go up into that penthouse?
Well, okay, but
No.
Not happening.
no. What I'm saying is like, so
No
you
offense
don't.
if your name's Bunk
You do
Weekly.
get that basic healthcare stuff. Everybody gets that.
I guess what my take on is for people that
You'll
cannot
have 12
afford
people in one room
any
after
kind of
this.
health insurance, there should be some basic health care provided for them.
Hmm.
The rest of the population that's employed, that's working through employers, they can get insurance. And
Like
they'll
Medicaid.
have whatever the
It's
Medicaid.
Medicaid. That's what you're
Yeah.
describing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Medicaid and then Medicare for the older
Right.
people.
My
Yeah.
solution to this whole situation, and I don't know why. I mean, these people in D.C. are supposed to be smart and know everything. You know.
They're trying.
Supposed to.
Let me tell you that if they had just expanded Medicaid and Medicare, they're already in place. They're working. A lot of people are. If we expanded that to everyone, and tweaked things,
Right.
we wouldn't be having this.
Didn't they
discussion right
make
now.
cuts in 2012 and 2013 with all that?
No,
They
not
should-
that I know
They're
of,
trying to do the
but
women's.
I'm aware
cut.
of what's going on now, and I'm not liking it.
What's going on now?
I don't know what's to say.
Sometimes I'd
Speak
rather
your mind,
be-
Virgil.
Speaker of the House was Ryan. Paul Ryan is trying. You know,
Mm.
he wants to do away with Medicare and Medicaid altogether.
Oh.
I mean, does that
Mm.
make sense to you?
Hmm.
Look at the ears.
Well, I mean,
He's been doing this for like 6 years.
yeah, I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
because
had we just expand, we already had those. And those
My thing
two
is,
in place.
I-
we just
I
built on
had-
those.
This is a great story. I just thought of it. I was on an ambulance working 911. I made a call. It came out as a hives and rash. So it's an emergency call. We went 911 because we don't want our airways to swell up, right?
Right.
So I get to this apartment, but I'm knocking on the door, and I'm knocking on the door, and I'm knocking on the door, and nobody comes down. So I call for fire department to break through the door, and we're gonna breach entry and go try to help somebody. So fire department arrives, and so they drove from their station, emergency traffic, putting people in harm's way, because that's what that does. People
Right.
freak out, and I drove there, emergency traffic, put myself in harm's way. You know, just so I get there, they open the door as fire department rolls in. So, standing there in a towel, she goes, "What do you want?" And I go, "Well, we got a 911 call from your residence." She goes, "Shaquisha," and like I'm not anything. I mean, that's her name, and like so, down comes a 22-year-old, young, healthy-looking female, and she proceeds to tell us she has a rash. And so we say, okay, well, where's this rash? Well, she says it's on my stomach. Well, will you show us this rash? And so she says, well, it's not on my stomach. It's more lower. And so, and it's not so much a rash as much as it's discharge and smell.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, like, okay, but like, we don't do gynecology on the ambulance, so I didn't have to do anything with it.
And that was
right?
a 911 call.
This is not right. This is 911, and so you're opening 911 up to that
Yeah.
by opening, right? So
They
obviously,
don't screen calls?
well, no, you have to respond to all of them,
No matter.
every one of them. And so, check this out. We get her to the ambulance, man.
So bad. I feel
And I'm telling her, you know, this isn't a problem for the ER. I feel like you should be seeing a GI or your gynecologist. And I can't refuse to take you, but my medical opinion says this. Well, she says, well, Medicaid pays for everything. Don't worry about it.
Did she hop on your ambulance?
Oh, yeah, she hopped. I didn't even let her on the stretcher. Oh, God, I don't work there anymore. But I should have let her on the stretcher, but I was not happy with it.
I'm saying, how does something like that just go unnoticed?
I've gotten
and allowed
calls
to
for
continue?
ant bites.
Really?
Single ant bite on an elderly female. She was worried it would mess with her high blood. Quoted. And so the lack of education, I'll tell you there that is it high blood pressure? Is it high blood sugar? Is it cholesterol? I mean, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. And she goes, well, it's sugar. So you're diabetic. And so she, well, the ant bite's not going to mess with your diabetes, no. And then she proceeds to say, well, my son got one too. And he's, well, yeah, but it was localized a little bit, so it wasn't anaphylaxis. But the son was there, 20-something-year-old male, very good health. he looked at me when she said that, and he goes, "Don't touch me." he's like, I want nothing to do with this antibody, right? Like, and so I love that the idea behind a open healthcare for everybody.
It would certainly be a utopian view of things.
It is. It's very utopian.
But
I don't see the practicality behind it unless we're bringing it down to basic life, like, hey, look, if you're gonna die,
but even through that, there's no practical implications.
Immediately die, not long term. Like, so if you're gonna die within
if you're in
a certain amount of time,
situation,
between 24 hours, bam. Something along those lines.
It's going to end up like the movie Idiocracy, where it's like, put this in your ear and this in your butt. You know what I'm saying? Because
no, the other way.
There's going to be that lack of education that's going to freak people out. I mean, shoot, I had to go to the hospital just when I needed to freaking drink some water, but I didn't realize how easy it was to get dehydrated. You know, like, didn't realize.
And that's what I'm saying.
Now
it's like, now we're and I feel like, this is about a lot of subjects is education, free education for healthcare. Like, you know, are you diabetic? Hey, we have a free class. You can learn all about your diabetes and how to manage it, and you can show you ways to get funding, and we can show you ways.
Webinar.
It could be webinars. But I talked to my doctor
people.
online.
I mean, we're talking about ways to cut costs.
I get online.
Video.
It's called Teledoc, which I don't care if you use them, but like Teledoc, they won't do any narcotics or scheduled drugs, but they will do all your antibiotics and your insulins and all that stuff. All it is a push a button, and that guy's looking at you.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's really neat. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great solution to that, and I feel like that could be paid by the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Because that's what mine pays.
No.
Mine offers it a free service. It's an add-on, or it's $40 a month.
No.
You know.
There we go. Now we're talking add-on. That's where you got me. I was like, paid for by the insurance companies. Maybe if you drag it.
No,
it's an option.
No, it was
an
a
option
free
in the
add-on.
policy.
I didn't add it on myself. It's one of those. Hey, this is what you get for buying our insurance. You get this option.
That was like an incentive.
And what it does is it lowers their costs because I'm not going to a doctor. I'm going to their doctor online. So they're not having to pay out a private practice. They're just paying some guy hourly to sit at a computer.
There's the 20th century working for.
I'm really curious to see what Virgil has
doctor
to
at
say on
CVS.
this.
It's building up to 3 now.
Yeah.
I had mentioned, I thought of this earlier, people abusing the system.
Yeah.
People going to like you said, to the emergency room with a gynecological rash, or maybe
you know what's the funny
a
part
nick
about
on
that?
the finger.
She walked
That's
out
not,
of that ER AMA against medical advice because she wouldn't open her legs to show a doctor.
please. See, that's
So-
medical advice.
I want help,
She's
but I
like,
won't show you what's
do it.
wrong.
So is it in here?
the other. Yeah,
Wh-
I think
Okay,
so.
well,
in
if
my
it's in here,
opinion,
then-
in my opinion, yeah.
No, I think it is too.
The other thing is
But I
about
think it's
education.
educational.
You cannot educate the ignorant. Now, the more people know about their body,
Can't fix stupid.
you're going to save money because they're going to know the difference between what an emergency.
Right.
But you can't educate the ignorant.
No.
The other thing, the bottom line is if we do get
You
this
want
stuff
you want to pay
fixed,
for the ignorance?
the bottom line is cost and containment.
Yeah.
It's all about cost.
Right.
And I believe in free enterprise. I'm a bureaucrat. I believe in like government. Not government, but and
Free enterprise and free market.
big industry.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you got to have our Uncle Sam and the feds to cut for like social programs.
Regulate.
Yeah, to regulate and get it going. But a happy medium has to be found because I don't want all socialistic type and all social type plan. It ain't going to work. Not in this country. And we cannot wipe out the insurance system. We've got to look out for health.
I feel you. I have a very unpopular opinion when I say that I believe in a dictatorship.
Dictatorship?
Yes, I do. I believe in a dictatorship.
Just got to be the
My
right
mind needs to
dictator.
talk. I got some pretty similar.
It's
views.
unpopular. It's unpopular as it gets. I'm gonna
Wow.
all that.
Mine's pretty unpopular too.
No, this one's
I
popular
believe
this
in
week.
anarchy. So
He's like,
everybody is their own
box.
dictator.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what that is. Anarchy to me is
That's
you're all
just-
your own dictators. And
That's pretty cool. I like that.
You know, the subject came up 2 days ago about dictators and somebody thought it was a really good idea. Chairman C has made head honcho for life. He thought it was cute.
So kind of like being responsible for yourself. In a way.
Right. Well, I mean, and then that can cause you to, die because
cheeseburgers.
Abuse cheeseburgers. But like my thing
as
is,
a society, we're so entitled that
yeah,
people don't take responsibility for themselves.
And that's
or
why I
for
think
their
it should
life.
stay private.
ignorance.
It's
I
like,
bring back
all
to
right,
ignorance.
you want our
Because
care?
that's how they
one,
were
you're gonna
raised.
pay
They
for it.
didn't know
Two,
you
you're gonna answer these questions instead of
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you want this healthcare? Oh, how bad do you want it? Answer this form.
In triplicate.
Right, in triplicate. Oh, no.
We're not giving you carbon copies.
You gotta write it in yourself. And if you do that, then we'll put you on a list.
And Shao says hello. This is.
Good Lord.
We were gonna do. I gotta say, we were gonna.
I know we can count on you.
We were gonna do a legalized marijuana recreationally show, but we all agreed too, so we can't just
That
sit here
was
and
one
agree
of
on
the
it.
We're all in agreement, so we can do that one.
Too
No
funny.
one, we would have discussion.
Zach, Nick Zaloy, thank you for tuning in. Joseph Ferrazza, Forenza.
Fiorenza.
Debbie, thank you for tuning in. And Catherine, I appreciate you tuning in. What time are we at? We got music yet, huh?
Oh, yeah, John, you're gonna bring.
Yeah,
a
we're
song,
at
weren't you?
45. Yeah, let's play some music, and while they're gonna
Is
get
it
ready,
about that
let's
time?
talk about your art, Virgil.
Oh, okay. Well,
Virgil.
this is short notice. I didn't have much to bring with me at the time, but I do skylines as some of my artwork. It's downtown Houston. I call myself Houston's photo ambassador.
Right.
I do abstract skylines, and usually there's some kind of architectural something behind all of it. I do. God, I'm a little nervous here.
Don't be nervous.
I do custom.
Have another
I do
glass of wine.
commissions. Custom to commissions. You can reach me at just Google Virgil for you. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. My name is Virgil
If
C.
you can't find them, get in contact with me.
Yeah, my name is Virgil C. Robinson. Just Google me.
It'll
and
actually
you'll
be in
find
the comments too, and on the post that we do post later.
me. Thank you, sir. Yes.
And if you want to help reach them, you can also reach out to Text Music and Art. We'll get you connected.
True that. You ready, John?
Yeah.
Let's hear a jam. Is it gonna be original?
This is going to be an original song. Yeah. I'm over
Do you have it on an album we can buy?
no, nothing yet.
Okay.
Nothing yet. Still working on the first album here.
Wonderful.
AJ, fill up your glass, dude. It's worth a
But
while.
let me get comfortable here.
Yeah, do your thing,
Just
buddy.
gonna-
You still in frame over there?
Yeah, I'm getting him in frame right now.
All right, great.
Okay. Yeah, this is an original song. Do with the Texas Contraband.
Is it online at all?
There is a YouTube link on my page. This was actually something we performed at a redneck country club. They had a band competition.
Oh,
So
fun.
this was one of the
Is
things.
redneck politically correct?
That's the name.
We're in
That's the name of the bar.
Oh, okay. My bad. Just curious.
So it's a little something
Yes.
a little country kind of ditty. Something I put together called "Leave the Lights On." As we move in perfect time, I could live forever with your heartbeat next to mine. Watch your shadows as we drift by the fire, where I can see the flame in your eyes. Love ain't wrong, baby, leave the lights on. I need you tonight, now and forever. It feels so right with you here in my arms. that look in your eyes, the love that surrounds me. Don't let this moment get lost in the dark. 'Cause love ain't wrong, so baby leave the lights on. Shadows as we drift by the fire, where I can see the flame in your eyes. Love ain't wrong, baby, leave the lights on. I need you tonight, now and forever. It feels so right with you here in my arms. That look in your eyes, the love that surrounds me. Don't let this moment get lost in the dark. 'Cause love ain't wrong, so baby leave the lights on. Love ain't wrong, so baby leave the lights on. You know love ain't wrong, so baby leave the lights on. Love ain't wrong, so baby leave the lights on.
Woo! Yeah. Thank you. That's awesome. While you guys get ready, you mind if I talk about my piece up here? All right, guys. So, you guys know me, Chris Minamyer, part of Text Music and Art, and I also am an artist myself. You can find me at CM Art on Instagram. That's my page, or Chris Minamyer. You'll see me I'm on every group in Houston. So if you don't know, you're not in any groups, then I don't care. I'm sorry. But this is one piece, a part of a collection of 4. Actually, I do pieces on commission. So the way this works is, this is Game of Thrones. I'm sure if you're aware of the show. So the stag family, and then I have one that's the dragon. And then the lion, and then the wolf. So it's all the same type of done, and then it's all in a row, and pretty cool looking all together. But so I do that type of work to show people that I want to do your commission work. So whatever you love, whatever symbols or abstract designs, or I make whatever you like. I make it beautiful on canvas for you to talk about when people come over to your home.
Awesome.
That's my spiel. I'm getting pretty good at that spiel. But yeah, you can find me again, Chris Minamyer at Text Music and Art. Take it away, bro. You gonna play original?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, Chris is gonna play with me. This song, a little bit of a segue to the song. This song is called. Well, actually, I'm just gonna tell you what it's called. You can think about it for whatever it is that you wanna decide on it. But this song is called "I Don't Love You." You wanna bongo?
I'm ready. I'm ready when you are.
Take a look at your wrist and look at your heart. Is it time that we made a new start on the rest of our lives, right where we are? And I know I'm not rich, but all that I have is all that I can give. Oh, I promise that this is all I can do. But won't pretend that I don't love you, love you. And this is all I can do. But I won't pretend that I don't love you, love you. Now you had to wait to make your amends. And was it worth it to go through the pain of losing a lover, losing your friends? And I started this game, so I'll see it through to however it ends. 'Cause I promised won't pretend that I don't love you. I love you. Full of complications they gave me, so I tore them down piece by piece. And my life is what made me believe that this is all I can do. I won't pretend that I don't love you, love you. This is all I can do, but I won't pretend that I don't love you, I love you.
Oh, so much fun, man. You almost slapped me. That was good.
I like the wine glass. That was.
That was great. I was a little
worried.
worried about it coming back on the feet, so I took it away from you.
No, it's cool. It kind of entitles with the song. You know, the song is really just to capture the younger crowd that is looking up to me. Because my mom had a really good point. Because I initially wrote the song for my mom. The song was about her having to send me to live with my dad when I was a child, and her telling me, "Look, son, I can't raise you to be a man. That's all I can do, but I love you." And then it turned into, as I learned to reap what I was sowing in my lyrics, it turned into me realizing that the song wasn't for my mom, but for everybody that loved me and everybody that was looking up to me and that needed my help. And that's what the song's about. It's, this is all I can do, but I won't pretend that I don't love you. And that's for, you know, my niece, my nephew, all of the younger ones that are just like, look, man, I can't be your picture-perfect, clean-cut American citizen that's going to do and believe everything that your parents tell you should do, but this is me, and I love you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Awesome.
so that's what the whole song's about.
Great.
Yeah, you know I'm like the biggest fan.
Good song.
No, good song.
Like a fanboy is kidding.
Well, you can always come down to Tuesday night.
I'm a fanboy you too, because like I want to be a drummer when I grow
appreciate
you. Well, we got 4 minutes left of the show. I just kind of want to touch back. If you guys have changed your opinion, or if maybe let's kind of bullet point.
I think we all agreed.
I think
Like
we did
it's
end up
possible,
agreeing it's
but
possible.
not plausible.
Right.
So,
Well, in the society we have today, like I said, it's going to
It'll
take a
take some
complete
work.
overhaul.
I think our
There's
overall
no
thing
easy,
was.
quick fix.
I think we're working on it. I'm trying to work on it.
I think
We're
I'm
just
trying
trying
to
to work
That's
on
why
it.
I'm saying dictator, man.
We'll
I'm
make
not
it
get in there and
happen,
say
don't
no,
Stephen Gardner
no,
says,
yes, no.
And
Yeah,
I
link
agree
to
with your
that
point
song.
because people are fucking, they're sheep. Sorry.
Yes,
Oh,
give it to him.
no!
Give him.
No!
Is this the dunce cap?
Drop
That's
the
the
F-bomb
F-bomb.
so they can see
This
it.
F-bomb is
There's a
brought
big
to you
F
by
word.
I got the
John
F-bomb
Garcia.
tonight.
At least
Well,
one
You know what
night.
I'm saying?
You did
Yes,
it.
yeah,
Sheeple
Sheeple. I love that.
It's called sheeple, yeah.
in our society.
I gotta hold
A
it.
bunch of artists
Oh,
talking
sorry.
about sheeple. You know?
Let me own this.
Like we're the perfect shepherds of
Before we go though, I want to say I still has faith. I do. I have faith that we're gonna get
We
it.
can get that.
I have hope.
Hope.
But I don't have
Well, see, you
faith.
said exactly. I has
What
What are you
faith.
gonna do without
I
hope?
has
I've
faith,
got
man.
wine.
Yeah, wine. I
Hey, we
like
all
that,
got
yes.
wine, boys
I'm
and
gonna
girls.
work
Thank
on
you
it.
for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for
everybody.
watching, man.
Hey, actually, Steven asked me if you have a link to your song somewhere. Is it live somewhere on YouTube?
I've linked my copyrights. I do not believe in producing and putting out any of my music until I'm ready to license on a national level, so I can take it on tour on a national level. And if I may add, there's a huge thing that local musicians struggle and fail with every single day. I see them so talented guys going to these open mics and playing their music without it being copyrighted. And there's some rich billionaire playboy sitting in there that knows somebody that probably plays better than you do that's going to take your song, show it to this guy, turn him into the next Justin Bieber, and there you are wishing you would have copyrighted your stuff.
Wishing you would have been
before you
Justin Bieber.
so yeah, watch stuff out. You can find it. You're gonna have to rewatch the Whine No Whine show if you want to hear that song.
Yes, guys. We actually have a whole 20. This is the 20th episode of the Artist Edition, and a whole another almost 50 of the original edition. So if you guys haven't liked the page, send a message to us, and then you will get updates when we go live. Also,
and you can be on the show.
Yeah, and if you want to be on the show, please message the show or Joe Orsak or myself, and or Harley, and we will get you in contact with the right people and get you on our show.
We are looking for crew members.
Yeah.
For on-site recording, live recording, field recording, all different types of
we
crew
need
members.
Lots of people and drummers.
I'm worried I'm going to pull the bolt right off this
Thanks
glass.
again, guys, for tuning in to the Artist Edition of the Whine No Whine Show, and I hope to see you next week, if not tomorrow, on the original edition.
All right. See you soon.
Have a great